Okay, so it's going to be a really quick video. It's from a question from CleoCat asking, should front ends necessarily be learning CSS, or could you get away with not doing CSS if you're a front end? I would generally think not, but in truth it's just due to the confusion about what the term front end means these days. Front end is becoming a lot more vague. It was covered in a recent series on CSS tricks called The Great Divide, just due to the diversity of requirements for front ends. There are front ends who just work in a browser and just work on visual things. They're implementing designs. There are front ends who never really work in a browser and they code things and push them out without looking in a browser. There are front ends who are very fixated on UX and beautiful scroll animations and providing really pleasant experiences for a user. Then there are performance-related front ends who are just focusing on making things render quickly and making those file sizes small enough, maybe through build systems. But you know, there's front ends who are writing TypeScript serverless Lambda functions which are going to query databases and then server render React applications and return those. The point is that front end is just becoming so amorphous and vague, and there's so many different ends and areas to it that people are starting to diversify and do different aspects of front end. So the terms such as React developer or JavaScript developer or Node developer could also sometimes be overlapping with front end developer, and ultimately front end developer is kind of becoming less and less meaningful as a term. If you don't ever write any CSS, I think the front end developer tag is probably not relevant. It'd be hard to call yourself a front-end developer. Maybe you're more of a JavaScript developer or a full stack that doesn't really deal on that kind of front end. However, you might be a developer who doesn't like working in the CSS. You're capable of pulling down a library, you're capable of leveraging the benefits of some third-party aspect, but it's not the thing you want to work into. I guess that's fine and you'd still be a front-end developer, but you'd have to assess there's still important aspects to that. You have to pick the right library to solve the challenges you need. You need to make sure you're actually implementing something that's valuable to the project you're making. What is the size of this library? Does it have all the components you need? Is it going to be easy for others to work with? Or further down the line, if you imagine a new component is needed and it doesn't exist in your chosen third-party library. Okay, are you going to add an extra library in and deal with that CSS bloat? Are you going to try and build your own in a custom way? Are you going to try and pull in some minor library tool? How easy is that going to theme match with the existing things? How well are you going to overwrite classes of third-party libraries? As soon as you are thrown a CSS challenge, how do you deal with that? And if it's something you're not capable of doing, again, it's front end seems like it's not particularly what your role defines you as. Maybe you're not particularly confident in CSS and it's just the weakest part of your stack if you're a full stack person. And I guess that's fine, but then that's why the term front end would be vague. If you were a back end developer who just said security is an area I'm particularly weak, then generally you wouldn't delve into those things and you wouldn't be put in charge of those things. So I think you realize that by taking on front end, you're taking on a lot of the responsibilities about how a site is expected to work, load, run, and be maintained. So there's a risk involved in you working in CSS if it's just not something you're interested in or want to be involved in. We get increasingly hung up on these terms about what's correctly a language and what's correctly this term or these libraries define this type of role. Maybe these things aren't that important. We always try and find the right niches to solve the particular projects we're working on. So maybe there are front ends who don't work in CSS. It just seems a bit weird, doesn't it? Anyway, let me know what you think. Please leave a comment. As always, like video, subscribe, all that lovely stuff. That's all. Thanks for your time, guys. Bye.